So in this video, I want to discuss the best refill for the Caran d'Ache 849. This is an iconic ballpoint pen that uses an interesting refill, the Caran d'Ache Goliath refill, and it's great under a lot of different circumstances, but maybe you're looking for something different, maybe you're looking for a gel refill, maybe you don't want to spend $8+ on one of their refills, so that's why this video exists. So the Goliath is, as you can see, a Parker G2 style refill with some slight quirks off of standard design. First of all, it has an all metal body. Most Parker G2 style refills have a plastic bit at the end with these sort of teeth here for spinning the mechanism. And there's a slight difference in length. I'll put the two down, line up the end, put the two down, line up the end, and you can see there's a very slight difference in length. So basically it's right here. It's a couple millimeters difference there and a couple millimeters difference here. This difference is going to have a big impact because that's where the spring hits the refill. This difference in length is hard to get this exact. Isn't huge, but it's notable. So that means while this does appear to be a Parker G2 style refill, it is going to have a slight variance when you put a normal, like a standard refill in it, like this Schmidt P900 ballpoint refill. So I'll throw it in there. Tighten this guy down. It's a sort of a strange mechanism, the spring mechanism. But, so. You can see it is not holding. And that's just because the spring is not able to the spring is too big. Let's look at the different taper here. The spring has more room to go up the refill, and here the spring can't compress enough for this mechanism to work. So standard G2 refill will not work. If you put it in and you fiddle with it, then sometimes it will, depending on the refill, generally it just won't work. Sometimes it'll stick out of the end a little bit, but that just has to do with how you put it in there and how it gets caught up. But the important part is that a standard refill will not work. That means other refills like the Fisher refill won't work. And then we have something like this Monteverde, which seems like it would be a perfect fit because while it does have the plastic mechanism, it has a very similar taper, or more similar than most, but that also doesn't fit. And Monteverde tends to make refills for pens that are difficult to get refills for, like Lamy. Another thing is something like a Schmidt this is 8127. This will not work. And this is for a different reason, not because of anything down here with the spring, but because you could probably just make it out that the barrel inside is circular, but at some point the hexagonal shape starts, and as soon as you hit the hexagonal shape, the extra width of the P8127 or 8126, whatever, stops it from going in anymore. So fatter refills like those from Schmidt, the wider diameter, do not work. So Parker G2 style refills, obviously the sort of standard, will not work. Here's another option. This is another Monteverde. This is called the M14 Broad. And look at the body. Full metal, great, and the same length. Again, look at a standard G2 style refill. It's a little bit too long, but the Monteverde is the right length. Unfortunately, it has the wrong taper profile. Here it tapers out and it will get caught on the Caran d'Ache spring. Actually, I had this thing stuck in there for about a good 5 minutes while I was able to like kind of push it out with a paper clip. But this looks like it'll work. It will not work because of that taper will get caught on the spring. So where does that leave us? There's really two options if you want to change. Obviously, you could buy another one of these Goliath refills. They're fine. One is this refill right here. This is from Bolograph. I've talked about the Bolograph Epoca. It's just a phenomenal pen, one of my favorites. And their refill, it's a G2 style refill, but it doesn't have the geared teeth at the end here, or the saw teeth, whatever you want to call it. And it's a little bit off of a standard G2 size. It's a little bit shorter than the Goliath, in fact. This guy, it turns out, is with no modification at all. Good fit. So the tip extends very reasonable length. It's aesthetically, it looks good to me. The action is not, doesn't feel exactly how it was, but it's pretty close. You do need to push it all the way. You need to push it a little harder than you did before, but it does work. So just do a writing test with that, and this is the Bolograph GRA Epoca. And this is the pen I pulled it out of. The refill, I think it's just called the Bolograph refill. But I have a bunch of these lying around because I tend to pull them out of the Epoca and put something like the Easy Touch, like a nicer gel refill in there. So let's see if there's a model on here. I believe they just call it their medium. So that's one option. Here's the other option. This is a standard Parker G2 style refill. This one is from a company called Itoya. It's a gel needle tip, which is interesting. And I was able to just chop the end off here. And that can be done with a sharp knife if you're really careful, have some sort of protective gloves on and eyewear and whatnot. But you get that G2 style refill. I'll line these up at the bottom, cut off about 3 millimeters, maybe 2.5, 3 millimeters. Obviously the cut is a little jagged. There's really nothing you could do about that. This is a really hard plastic. And then if you do that, it doesn't have to be with the Itoya. I wanted to try out a needle tip, but this will be a good fit. So actually, let's put it next to the same length. And the ends, you know, whatever works. And I'll show you how that works. And the some of the teeth part is preserved in case you care about that. It will grip there. It doesn't matter though. It doesn't serve any purpose from what I can tell. And when you're putting this in, it's kind of strange, because you have to press it down and turn while it's pressed. Otherwise, it will not catch. It's a slightly awkward action. But here you go. Here's the pen. Push. And pretty good fit. I should have left an extra millimeter or so just to get it like this. Would have been perfect. Like maybe right there. Instead, I have it right here. So not perfect, but next time I'll do better. And this does work. And this is the refill's a little old. This is the Itoya gel refill. So, and I actually really like having a needle tip in here. I think that's a very cool looking look. So, to get back to the original question at hand, just a little bit of a circuitous answer to that. My favorite refill for the Caran d'Ache 849 is the Bolograph. this is a reasonable fit and doesn't require any modification. I tend to prefer this to the Caran Dash Goliath. It's cheaper and I have a bunch lying around. If you're going to head and put in Parker 849 in there, then a lot of different ones will fit. You could put in, you know, this Atoya. You could put in a Parker gel refill. You could even go ahead and try to get an Easy Flow 9000 in there. It's not going to fit without modification, but it will fit eventually. So the best refill for the Caran Dash 849 is realistically any modified Parker G2 style refill. It's not probably a very gratifying answer, but there you have it. Best I could figure out. So thanks for watching.